This video covers second part of fourth module. Okay, that is called as interest and time value of money. Okay, we will go in depth about what is interest and what are the types of it and few problems related to that. Okay, let's see what all things are there in the contents. So these are the contents. Okay, first we'll study about what are the concepts of simple and compound interest. Okay, second we'll study about interest formula for single payment, interest formula for equal payment, and uniform gradient series. Okay, then we'll study the same for nominal and effective interest rate as well, and then we'll study something about deferred annuities and capitalized costs. So this will cover your second part, okay, of your fourth module. These are the contents. So cash flow diagram, okay. So while you solve the problem, this is something you need to know. So see, you can't see everything, right? You need some diagram so that you can picturize everything. So you are going to use this cash flow diagrams. So see, it is difficult to solve a problem if you cannot see it, right? If you cannot see, you can't solve it. So the easiest approach to approach problems in economic analysis is to draw it, okay? Draw a picture. So this cash flow diagram has these three things. One is a time interval divided into a appropriate number of equal periods, okay? The whole time is divided into each part, okay, and all cash outflows will be indicated. So cash outflows are nothing but deposits, expenditures, all that in each period, and cash inflows, okay, that is withdrawals and income, okay, for each period. So these are the three things you need to know. One is time interval, it is dividing into equal periods, and then cash outflows, that is deposits and expenditures, and then cash inflows, okay, that is withdrawals and income. So I'll send a picture of this, how cash flow diagram like to see. I'll send a picture of it, not included here. I'll send a picture in our this thing group, okay, so you can refer through that. So next is interest formulas. Let's move on to interest formulas. So let us study about interest and time value of money, okay. So see, whenever you take interest, okay, from someone, what do they expect? They give money and they expect, of course, more in return, right, within that time. So let's read this. The time value of money is the greater benefit of receiving money now rather than an identical sum later. See, it is founded on the time preference, okay, based on the time. The time value of money explains why interest is paid or earned. Okay, this is what they tell. Interest, whether it is on bank deposit or debt, okay, compensates the depositor and as well as the lender for the time value of money. Okay, it also underlies investment. So the time duration between when the depositor deposits or the lender takes the money, that time value is the thing, okay. Second point is, investors are willing to spend their money now only if they expect a favorable return on their investment in the future, right? In the future, such as the increased value to be available later in sufficiently high to offset the preference to have money now. So it's obvious, right? The one who is going to invest or is ready to give money, he is definitely going to expect better in his future, right? Favorable return on their investment in the future with the increased value, okay, later on. So this is about interest and time value of money. So here is interest formulas. So I'll read this out. Interest can be classified as two things. Okay, one is simple interest and compound interest. Two main branch. Okay, so here in simple interest, the interest is calculated based on the initial deposit for every interest period. Okay, so the initial deposit, how much ever it is going to be there, it depends upon that for every interest period. So in this case, calculation of interest on interest is not applicable. Okay, so and what is in compound interest? In compound interest, the interest for the current period is computed based on the amount at the beginning of the current period. See the difference. In simple, they it is based on the initial deposit. Okay, and in compound interest, the interest for the present, okay, current period, it's computed again based on the beginning, whatever the amount is used there, based on that. See here, while solving the problem, we need to know these notations. Okay, so these notations are there while you solve the problem. So I'll read this out. See, P is the principal amount. Okay, P is called as principal amount. N is nothing but the number of interest periods, the period, how long it is. So based on that, I is called as interest rate. Okay, it could be either in monthly, annually, quarterly. Okay, that is I. And F is the future amount at the end of year end. Okay, final amount later what you have to do. A is the equal amount deposited at the end of every interest period. Okay, so unless otherwise indicated, all such cash flows are considered to occur at the end of their respective periods. So there is a diagram for, like I told you, there is a cash flow diagram. Okay, so in that diagram you can include your cash inflows, outflows. Okay, the cash that is all the detailing will be there in that cash flow diagram. You can understand, and you should solve the problems based on that. Let's see now. Let's go in depth what all things are there in further. So under simple interest, see these are the formulas that you are going to use. Let's go through this. So simple interest is the interest that is completed only on the original sum, okay, and not on the accrued interest. Thus, if we were to loan a present sum of money P, okay, so P is the money that you are going to take as a loan, okay, to someone at a simple annual rate I, okay, so annual rate is I for a period, how long it is, okay, n years. So P is the amount of money, N is the years, and I is the interest, okay, rate. So the amount of interest you would receive from the loan would be the total interest is earned. It can be given by P into I into N. Okay, all the N years, the amount of money due to F would be equal to the amount of the loan. P plus the total interest earned, that is amount of money due at the end of the loan, that would be F is equal to P into 1 plus I into N. So this is your formula to find simple interest, where P is the present sum of money in rupees, okay, F is the future sum of money, that's in rupees, N is the number of interest periods, and I is interest rate per period in percentage. Okay, so these are the notations and also formula which you need to know. We'll solve problems based on this. So here is a problem based on simple interest. Okay, so this is the question they have given. Assuming a company has a loan of rupees 800, that is P is 800, okay, is made for a period of 2 months. Okay, so time N is 2 months. Okay, So to here it is going to be 2 by 12. You have to divide it at a simple interest of 10%. Okay, here I is 10%. What future amount is due at the end of loan period? Okay, that is what you have to find. So like we know, let's write data. Company has a loan of 800, so P is 800, period is 2 months, and simple interest, that is indicated by I, that is given as 10%. Okay, so 10 by 100 will give me 0.10. What future amount is due at the end of the loan period? So at the end of the period, what is the amount that is amount that is remained as due? That is what we have to find. So let's find. See, we have the formula for simple interest, that is f is equal to p plus p into I into n. Okay, f is equal to p plus p into I into n. So the total amount repaid after 2 months, okay, is when n is 2, we will get f is equal to 800 plus 800 into 10 into 2 by 12. Okay, for 2 months. So f will when you substitute, you will get f value as 813.34. Okay, after that you are going to consider you have to find the future value by not considering a leap year. So that will be same formula, f is equal to p plus p into I into n. So 800 plus 800 into 10 into 31 plus 28 by through leap years, how many days are there? 28 by 365. Okay, so when you substitute that, 812.93, this will be the answer. Okay, so this is the problem based on simple interest. So next, let us study about effective interest rate. Okay, so let it be the nominal interest rate annually. Okay, annual, that is for a complete year. But in practice, the compounding may occur less than a year. For example, compounding may be either monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually. Okay, it can be any of this. So compounding monthly means that the interest is computed at the end of the month. Okay, if it's compounded in a monthly basis, so interest is computed for the end of the month. Okay, so there are 12 interest periods in a year. Okay, remember this, there are 12 interest periods in a year if the interest is compounded monthly. Under such situation, the formula will be for effective interest rate is compounded as, so this is the formula, effective interest rate, that is IEFF, I effective, is given by 1 plus R by M whole to the power of M minus 1. Here I is the nominal interest rate. Okay, that is what you have to find, and M is the number of interest periods in a year. Okay, it could be quarterly, it could be monthly, semi-annually. Okay, so that is M. So we have problems under this, so let's go through it. So here is the problem. Determine the effective interest rate for a nominal annual rate of 8%. So R is given as 8%. Okay, that is compounded. First is daily, then you have to find for monthly. See, I told you, for when it comes for monthly, you have to, it's for 12 months. Okay, by the end of the month, so M is 12, and quarterly and also semi-annually. Okay, so M will vary for everything while you find. So solution data R is given as 8%. Okay. So I effective to find, we have this formula, that is 1 plus R by M whole to the power of M minus 1. Okay, let's see how to solve this. So you have to find, first is for daily. So again you are assuming not a leap year. M is for how many days are there? 365 days. So M is 365. So substitute this in the formula. I effective is equal to 1 plus 0.08, that is R by 100, divided by 365, that is M whole to the power of 365 minus 1. So while substituting, I'll get 0.0832, that will be 8.32%. Okay, so this is the effective interest rate for daily. Next you have to find for monthly. Okay, so when you find for monthly, M is 12. So I effective is given by 1 plus 0.08 by 12 whole to the power of 12 minus 1. So my answer will be 0.0829 is equal to 8.29%. Okay, so this is the effective rate for monthly. So for quarterly and semi-annually, quarterly M will be 4 and semi-annually is given by 2. So substitute for I effective for quarterly, 1 plus 0.08 divided by 4 whole to the power of 4 minus 1. So I'll get 0.0824. So in percentage when I convert, I will get 8.24 percentage. Okay. Similarly for semi-annually, I effective is equal to 1 plus 0.08 divided by 2 whole to the power of 2 minus 1. Okay. So my answer will be 0.0816 is equal to 8.16%. Okay. So this is the I effective for all the four, what has been asked. Okay. Next move on to the second interest, that is compound interest. Let's see. So under compound interest, see for a loan, any interest owed but not paid. Okay, you owe the interest but it is not paid at the end of the year. Okay, you're supposed to pay, then it's not paid. That is added to the balance due. Okay, thus next year's interest is calculated based on the unpaid balance due, which includes the unpaid interest from the previous period, preceding period. Okay, so in this way, compound interest can be thought of as interest on top of interest. So this is how it differentiates simple and compound interest. Also, this is a formula: F into N is equal to P into 1 plus I into N. Okay, for compound interest, where P is the present sum of money, that is in rupees. F is the future sum of money in rupees. N is same number of interest periods. I is also interest rate per period in percentage. Okay, so this is the notation, and this is the formula for finding compound interest. There are types. Okay, there are types of compound interest problems. Now these are the 7 types. That is single payment compound interest, first one. Second one is single payment present worth amount. Okay, third one is equal payment series compound interest. Fourth is equal payment series sinking fund. Then fifth one is equal payment series present worth amount, and sixth is equal payment series capital recovery amount, and uniform gradient series annual equivalent amount. So these are the types. Okay, so let's go through this. What are all these, and problems under this. Okay, we have to solve few problems. Let's go through this.